Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self actualize. I blend the most avant garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. Cock lovers of the world, unite! There is cock like and there is cock love. I used to be a cock liker until I became a cock lover. And my entire sex life has been transformed ever since. The turning point came for me when I was with a man I was so utterly into: mind, body, and spirit. And cock. I could not get enough of him. I was totally open to him on every level, and I was in love with him on every level. And his cock was a gorgeous expression of his being and his masculinity: strong, potent, wild, hard, and fierce. I was smitten with both of them. I couldn't walk past that cock without touching it or loving it in some way. I would fall to my knees in the middle of the room to caress it. And it came to be that I had two distinct relationships, one with the man and the other with his cock. I missed them both when they weren't around. Early on in my sex coaching career, I had the observation that all the fluff that you find in the cheesy sex rags about 101 blowjob tips, that they meant nothing if a woman didn't want to go down on her man. So why didn't she want to? That was the ultimate question that no one seemed to be asking. Instead, they were glossing over it with lists of techniques which might even encourage a woman to override her lack of desire rather than truly unlock it. And I realized from my own experiences that the transition from like to love, from any sense of obligation or reciprocation, was being wildly, deeply, madly in love with the man and his cock. And being so open to both of them that the idea of being penetrated anywhere, anytime, in any manner was totally arousing to me. And this meant that I had no barriers or inhibitions in myself or towards my man. And that is the formula for pure, unbridled cock love. It is an unstoppable force all on its own, not something that can be faked or coerced. It simply gushes out and all over the place, from the bed to the car to the boat to the kitchen table. So, receiving that kind of love is totally transformational for a man. So many men really don't love or own their cocks. And I would say that a lot of that comes from a variety of things: early circumcision and sexual trauma, as well as the internalization of this idea of toxic masculinity and the concept that somehow the penis or the male body isn't beautiful. But you can help your man change all of that. He needs to do his own work as well. But we're talking about you today, ladies, because what you can do can also help to change him from the inside out. When he is seen and adored and cherished at his core, the benefits are epic. First of all, his cock grows physically. Yep, it gets bigger. When they are going strong, his cock is realizing its full potential and even growing beyond it. He is fully occupied in his erections and in his masculine self. And when they drift apart, his cock contracts. I have seen cocks gain a full inch in length and in girth just from being well loved. Yes, ladies, the power is in your hands and mouths. Lots of love and connection equals giant, solid cock and plentiful, rock hard erections. His overall confidence also grows. When I have been on my orgasmic enlightenment retreats and I coach women in cock love, their men walk differently the next day. They are cocky, they are more playful and outspoken and bold. They strut around and they lead with their cocks. The attention and adoration they've received enlivens them, not just at the genitals, but it impacts how they show up in the world. They own what they've got and who they are, and they infuse that into all of their interactions. And cock love increases his masculine essence. The cock is the barometer of a man's masculine expression in the world. When it is strong and formidable, so is he. And as you love up his cock, he embodies more of this masculine strength. He becomes more decisive. He takes action in life. He's going somewhere. All qualities a woman loves, right? This is the masculine feminine dance. So the more that you adore his cock, the more it loves you back, and it provides a solid masculine core that you can lean into. He can be the man, so you don't have to be. And all of your cock love not only helps him, but you can see that it has tremendous benefits for you as well. You feel even more well fucked and embodied. You are open in every way, in bed, and in life. Good, solid cock is the medicine that transforms you into a well fucked woman. All that you give to him comes back to you tenfold, a hundredfold. As I like to say, it's not that behind every good man is a woman. Au contraire, behind every good woman is a man on his knees, ferociously thrusting and giving her everything he's got. His embodiment helps you with yours, which helps him with his. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And your perpetual openness and your receptivity increase as your feminine energy bursts and flows. You become more magnetic to abundance in your life to create what you want, because cock is such good medicine. The Taoists also believe that our bodily fluids, our lubricating fluids, saliva, and ejaculate contain our respective yin and yang essences. By taking them in and exchanging them with each other, we nourish and balance ourselves. The cock is the yang to your yin. It's our direct hit, our main line of masculine love juice and strong, powerful energy. Bottoms up, kids, I like to say, especially with oral sex. The cock is the great opener and liberator. One of the best ways to find your voice is with a big cock down your throat. It helps you to clear your throat chakra and speak your truth. A glorious cock all the way down in your esophagus is the magic and the medicine that every woman needs. Being so open to your man to fully let him fuck your throat, or at the very least, to thoroughly enjoy his cock with your mouth, reverberates that energy of openness throughout your entire system. This itself helps to release internal, emotional, and psychological blockages. And as I've said, a cock in the throat is a great remedy for clearing your throat. It's one of the best remedies, actually, if you're feeling stuck in expressing yourself, especially verbally. Oral sex and deep throating are the cure for what ails you. The direct stimulation of your throat chakra acts as an energetic catalyst. You'll hear in today's Well Fucked All Star how Amanda and her partner even consciously know when they need some cock in her throat when they are having communication issues. She also talks about how it is major foreplay for her and the exponential growth effect on a partner who is on the receiving end of cock love. Sex as medicine, therapy, and bodywork all in one. Well Fucked All Stars. Welcome, Amanda. We are delighted to have you here to share on some cock love.
Thank you so much for having me. Absolutely. So delighted to be here.
So you have some wonderful stories that I would love for you to share. And starting with your experience in deep throating. So wherever you want to start.
I have always enjoyed cock love, but not given myself the permission to do so, or him. He hadn't given himself the permission. So it was always like a starter. It was always a beginner thing to do. And then you move on to sex, where now that can be the beginning, the middle, and the end, can be just me spending all that time on his cock. Just this year for our wedding anniversary, we booked our very first sex weekend, because that, again, was a concept that I hadn't ever thought of. But it was so exciting to map it out in the calendar. We're going to go on a sex weekend. This is where we're going. And we went to a little cabin in the woods and had zero interaction with other human beings. But before we left, I said to him, I really want to work on deep throating, because I'd done Well Fucked Woman the year before and I still hadn't done the deep throating. There's so much in all the courses that you like have to pick what you're going to do. But I was having communication issues and I was like, I really need you to open up my throat. I really want to get deep down in there. So over the course of that 3-day weekend, we just spent so much time just going deeper and deeper into my throat. And we joked now that it used to be like you had to set aside time to do things like anal sex or have deep throating or these bigger sex acts that aren't your run of the mill. But so now it's just like Wednesday night, like Tuesday afternoon. So it's just become part of the whole repertoire. It's all really special. Instead of you get to have anal sex for your birthday, it's just get to have anal sex this Wednesday. Like, so yeah, it's really cool.
Just in regards to the deep throating as well, I was really also working at the time on opening up my throat chakra and communicating better in my workplace and with my family. I actually had a goiter, and that's a lump that sits on your thyroid. So I was meditating and visualizing, minimizing this lump that I had on my throat and working towards opening my throat chakra. And then using the deep throating to help heal that as well, to really blow my throat open. And just so happens I loved deep throating as well. So it's become quite a regular thing in our bedroom or anywhere,
And
really.
did it have an impact on the physical stuff that you were working on?
So it really did. I was able to, through the process of meditation and visualization and using the deep throating, I naturally got rid of the goiter. That lump fully went away. But I would speak, and as I was speaking, I would clear my throat every 3 or 4 words. It would be a consistent the whole time that I was talking. Yeah. And I would drink a lot of water as well. And now that has totally gone. It would have been a 5-week period of a consistent protocol of using those modalities to get rid of the throat issue. So
yeah, fantastic.
And yeah, it was so good. And then on top of that, I found in the beginning, using the deep throating, I found that I could really communicate. I felt like I was a bit louder, and it actually, to me and to my husband, we noticed that my voice itself sounded different. So I don't know if you physically shift your vocal cords or what goes on back there, but something definitely changed. And then that would have been like 6 months ago that we really started committing to the deep throating. And now I find that I would have a quieter voice and a much calmer voice, but I definitely get more out of my communication without needing to say as much. So it really has, the energy behind deep throating has really shifted, just what I feel I get out of my own communication skills. And I think it really gives me that well-fucked glow that means I just magnetize things to me anyway. It's just not as much hard work anymore.
And now I can actually say, I really need a cervical orgasm, and he will know. But even just this week, I'm like, do you know what? I'm just in a funk. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I just need you to fuck me. I don't, like, we just... And sometimes he's really cheeky. He'll be like, babe, you need my cock in your mouth. That's what's happening here. So, but it's true. I go, I know, it's a bit annoying. My throat chakra is all caught up. So, yeah, go clear that.
Right. And so, what about then the impact on your husband?
Well, first and foremost, he loves it. And it used to be a bit of a plan. Like we would have to sort of be like, okay, we're going to try deep throating tonight. Or we would, in the beginning, set aside like, okay, Wednesday night and Friday night, we're going to do some deep throating, because I would have to really work towards opening. And that would take maybe 45 minutes sometimes to get fully open in the throat.
Right. Yeah.
So, and different positioning. So we would have to make sure the kids are taken care of and entertained and not going to be interrupted during that process. But now it can just slip out mid, like if I'm just giving your everyday blowjob, I can go really deep, because I feel that part of my throat has reached a new level of openness where it still needs some stretching to go all the way, but it's never as closed as what my throat was previously.
Right. Yeah.
But in terms of him, other than purely enjoying the decadence of the act itself, I would say that his cock is larger in girth. I haven't really noticed a lengthy difference, but he's fairly well endowed anyway. So, but yeah, the girth has definitely changed. And in terms of like energetically, if he's having a tough week, I can actually see that in his cock as well. It's less embodied. So as much as he will say to me now, he can see that I'm feeling stuck, and one of my go-tos is the deep throating to help me really surrender and just let go, so that I can let the flow of the universe back in. I can also see that I can use it for him. If he's had something challenging at work or something's come up for him, we can use the deep throating to bring him back into his full masculine power. And at the same time as doing the deep throating for him in that regard, it drops me so deeply into this surrendered feminine state. It is just, for us, it's a magnificent tool. Like, it's just so helpful to know, okay, let's go do that, because it will help me be less in my do masculine mode, and it helps him step into his fully I am a man mode. And I can hear myself even as I'm explaining it to you, like the energy changes, and it softens me and opens me right up. And yeah, I feel really surrendered, and even the breath is easier in my body. It just relaxes my whole system. Actually, that's something that I have said to my husband. When I'm feeling a bit lost as well, it's not just stuck in energy, but if I'm feeling a bit lost, sometimes in my feminine energy, I feel like I'm not sure where I am in like physical presence, but also energetically and emotionally. And I need him to fill me up anywhere, really, to help me find my edges again, so that I know where I am. It helps me feel contained as a woman, and helps me. Does that make sense?
It makes beautiful sense. You're articulating it very well, because that's a very subtle, rather sophisticated, energetic concept. And you're explaining it well. That I think the whole essence of the feminine, that opening and surrender and letting go, that's what people are afraid of. Right? Like, especially in the feminine for women, and letting go of that control. And so now that you're stepping into that territory to feel and allow that openness and uncertainty, and then realize that what helps ground it is the presence of the masculine and the cock.
That's exactly it. It's the grounding, because the feminine it's so expansive and it's so wide and receptive, so that then when I do receive him in, I can feel myself come back into my center again. And it's so delicious too. And we're both just so grateful for the tools that we've learned from you, that we can use them to help us both in that regard. So
what you're saying too, and I'm glad to hear that, and what you're saying also is that the that continual relationship is so important, right? Like I talk about daily sex connection, and I know you've talked about that too, how it's quite, you can feel the difference in yourself when you're not having it, and
Yes.
how we really do nourish each other, right? I talk about the bed as the ultimate refueling station and sanctuary and recalibration space. And that's exactly what you're talking about.
It so is. I cannot express it enough. It's but as you know, we have 6 children between us, and we are met with many challenges in our family and work life. And our old pattern pre-Kim work would be to push each other away and sort of just get stuck into the work of daily living.
Right.
And
So when you're
now,
feeling stressed, the impulse is like to almost separate. Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it used to be. The
Right.
impulse is still there. I
Right.
even this week have said, I can feel my old patterns creeping in, that I really just want to be like, oh, fuck off. But, and then when I feel that creeping in, I actually know now that I need to lean in to the other energies and the tools that we've learned to come back to each other. And then in coming back to each other and our relationship, we actually come back to ourselves and find ourselves in our own bodies again. So
That's so beautiful. I love it that you almost become that remembrance for each other because you're so
yes,
open to each other, and the foundation of the relationship is so much honesty and clear communication that it's a safe recharging place you can find each other back within yourselves, your unit.
absolutely. But you have to do the work as well. We have our connecting dates, which are communicative, and then we have, like, verbally, I mean, and then we do have a daily sex practice. Well, I have daily breast massage, and I do the yoni egg, and there's self-pleasure. There's all the things to stay centered, and there's so many options that you can do. And this is why in the beginning, to start with the deep throating, it would have been, I'd done the Well Fucked Woman last year, and then it wasn't until March this year that I said, right, I'm ready to do deep throating, because there's so many tools and so many beautiful things that you can use. And I just wasn't, I had wanted to do it, but I just wasn't there yet in terms of timing of working through other amazing sexual acts as well. But then once we tried the deep throating, I was like, this is something I can really use a lot of. And I must say, one of the physical things of deep throating that I really love is that mucus that you get, the lubrication that you get from deep throating. It's so good. It's amazing.
Well, some people think of that as the throat's ejaculate.
I totally believe it is, because you reach a certain point and there's sounds going on from both people. There's moaning and delicious groaning going on. And it probably not only the lubrication in my throat, the lubrication that I get in my pussy is so definitive of how much I enjoy doing the deep throating, the wetness that I achieve from that.
That's what I talk about too, is how the great cock love, and especially deep throating, I think the level of surrender and openness, if you really sink into that, it activates your own arousal and the deliciousness of total surrender, right? Like that epicenter, the peak experience of the feminine, right? Of receptivity, of opening and letting your guard down totally is so arousing. And it really does get exemplified in the deep throating act.
The deep throating is really a true act of love. I feel like it's a very surrendered, very trusting, very open, like I'm trusting him to have his cock down my throat. So it's a beautiful, it's a gift to him, but it's also the receiving of what I get out of it is so beautiful. Knowing that I can fully trust him. And that also, like what we were saying before, how it affects you outside of the bedroom as well. The trust that I now have in being able to just, not just tasks, but just I don't need to communicate. Again, I don't need to communicate as much with him what I need. It's just he's there, and it's kind of the yin and the yang, you know. You like, I just feed into him and then he feeds into me, and we just keep helping each other along, and things are going along without needing anywhere near as much communication. And my level of trust that he's just going to follow through and do what I need him to do is so heightened as a result of trusting him with such a beautiful and deep sexual act. So
do you think, like, what I've experienced and seen as well is that when a woman truly opens and surrenders at that level, it evokes more integrity and strength and even follow through in the man. It's like something gets activated in him. The extreme yin that he feels brings out his extreme yang, which I would say, or proper yang, is taking action and following through, being decisive, being someone whose word and actions we can rely on.
It 100%. I even see it in his stride. I think he walks different. He also did Sexual Mastery for Men. When he did that, he was probably less committed to it at the time that he did it than he is now. Like when he did it, it was kind of because I did Well Fucked Woman. And then he was like, his response actually was, how can I not do Sexual Mastery for Men when I'm seeing everything that's happening with you because you've done Well Fucked Woman? I'm going to have to sign up for it.
And didn't it start where he originally said, all right, you're taking Well Fucked Woman, but I'm not going to take the men's course. But then once he saw the energy and results of you, he's like, okay.
So one of the things with my darling husband is, one of the issues in the past has been money. There's always just an attitude of lack. It's always been, oh, but we don't have enough money to do that. We do, because my belief is there's just always enough money it's just priorities is where you're going to place where you put the money. So I really wanted to do, as I say, Well Fucked Woman. And yes, when I came to him and we discussed it as a unit, like, I want to put the money towards this, I think it's a really great investment. He said, okay, do it. Happy for you to do it. This is going to be great. As a result, you're going to want me to do it. I swear to God, you're going to want me to do it. And I'm telling you, I'm not doing it. We can't afford it. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, I came home on a Friday night and he was sitting at his computer and he said, I'm signing up for Sexual Mastery for Men. How could I not? And I just looked at him. I had such love in my whole body, was overwhelmed, because I thought, go you. Like, you're not doing it. He wasn't doing it for me. He was just doing it because he actually did say it would be like saying no thank you to the universe, to whatever you want to offer me. No thanks, I don't need it. He was like, how could I do that? How could I say that? And then, then I did BKF. So we've like done them all except for Sexy Mama, but we're done with having children. So then did BKF. And then while we were doing BKF, we actually watched a little free video series on They're Coming Together. And that was so inspiring. Again, we were like, we have to do this together. We need to do full circle and bring it all together as a unit. And and there's so many different elements in each of the salons that I can't recommend enough. Just do them all. Like, just sign up for all and sundry, because it's so great. It's so amazing and life-changing. Just, we both have a different life now compared to just like even 18 months ago. And not that it's challenge free, it still does have, like, it's work. As you say, you've got to do the work, and when you put in the work you get the results. And that's not to say it's all just cruising along and everything's falling into our laps and everything's going really well. We still have our challenges. When we have those challenges, it's super fun, because we can say, all right, well, let's go fuck on it. Like, and I don't know whether I can share this, but I'm going to anyway. But we actually work together. We do own the business, so it's kind of more okay. But we know the places in the office that we can sneak off. I know one particular occasion there has actually been a little bit of deep throating in the one of the cleaning closets. So, because there was some fairly heavy stuckness happening in a meeting that was over the Zoom, and it was like, let's put a hold on this meeting and come back to it. And so we went and revved up a bit of energy and then went back to the meeting, which I highly recommend it.
That is amazing. So you guys both knew, like, you're like, well, this is getting a
Yes.
bit much. Maybe we should do a little sex break, like communications, what we're dealing with here. Let's go open up our throats and energies.
It totally was. It totally was. And it started just with some really deep kissing, and it was just like, let's just really move the energy and do our breath work through the orbit and move everything and just get it shifting. And then, but you've stirred up our sexual energy so much that it's quite often, it can be impulsive. It's done with intention, but there's also, you're very revved up that it's like, well, let's just do it. Like,
Well, that's such a great testament to what I am aiming for with people, is that the way you're looking at and using your sexual energy as a power source, as an energy source, like it doesn't have all these other judgment, moral, taboo attachments to it. You recognize that this is a
yes.
beautiful, transformational, super powerful source of energy that you both have in your bodies, in yourselves, at your fingertips, and you're using it that way, and that you're hovering at this perpetual simmer, right? You're constantly,
Yes.
because you're so connected and you're doing this ongoing work to clear space and to remain connected, is that it's always there at the surface. You don't have to start, take an ice packet and try to boil it up, right? You're already simmering, and it just takes the slightest little bit of nudge to then enter into that space.
Absolutely. And I mean, we do get comments from the guys at work, and they're just like, oh my God, do you guys ever stop? We're like, no, not really. Like, why would you want to? But and even just last week, I had a lock put on my husband's office door so that we can now lock it. And while I was having that done, the operations manager has come past, and he just kind of laughed and rolled his eyes like, oh my God, are you serious? Because I should mention, we've been together for 15 years. Yeah. And we do have 6 children between us. So it's like, when people say, oh, once you get married, it'll just die off. It doesn't have to. It just really doesn't have to. You can stay so connected, and not just connected like romantically. It can be really sexually ignited. It can be very, very sexy and very powerful. We've now committed to 4 sex weekends a year, and already committed my parents to having the younger children, because there's 4 older ones, but the 2 younger ones still need to be cared for. But yeah, we've already lined it up, like it's in the diary, and people know we're going away and the phone will be off and we won't be contactable. We still can't manage a whole week date yet, but we can get to the 3-4 day mark. So that's so amazing for us anyway. And I might just mention, on the older kids, we're already sharing with the 3 older ones, we're already sharing a fair bit of your work, and probably with the 4th eldest one as well. She knows a lot about your VKF, because we sort of walked hand in hand doing that one together. So we just think, and we would gift that to our children as they become more interested in it, and when they're ready for that sort of information, we're like, our children will know about it, and our children will hopefully use it in their own marriages and their own lives moving forward, to just, because we see it now as, I'm 44, so I've been working on this since I was 42, would have been when I came across your work. So we just think to start doing it in your 20s and your late teens is, imagine the life, I mean, you did it, but imagine the life that you can build from there with this work at the forefront, rather than sort of coming back to it after you've already got a bit of trauma to work through. So
absolutely. I agree 100%. And I love that you're a model for that. I want to do a separate interview with you just on that topic, because so many people, once they learn this work, they wonder how to deal with or share it with their children in a way that's healthy and becomes, that's who their teacher is, right? Like the teacher of children's sexuality shouldn't be the school board, nor should it be porn or random urban myths. It ought to come from a really wonderfully modeled source, their parents. So love
exactly what you were saying, totally what you were saying before too, about it being a power source. It's not just sex. Like, it's something that you can use in your life to magnetize other greatness going on, like outside of the bedroom. It's not just about orgasms. Actually,
well, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, when I signed up for Well Fucked Woman, it was because we had a great sex life. Like, I would have considered that I've always been multi-orgasmic, which is so lucky for me. And I don't have any major traumas to work through sexually. But I signed up for these amazing orgasms. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to be having like even better sex than what I'm having. And it's totally different. Like, being a well-fucked woman is not about orgasms at all. My whole life is so well fucked in the most positive way that it's so hard to explain what being well fucked is like. I float. I don't think I walk anymore on this earth. I just float across it. I do. And people at work, they're like, you're like the nicest and you're the healthiest person. And people, like the guys that work there, they like want to help me. They want to do things for me. And they think I speak so nicely and I always look nice. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just well fucked. I just am.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the proof is in the pudding, right? It is the whole, like, yes, I'd say orgasms are a pathway there and they're part of the process, but the ultimate, it's so much more than that, right? And I think that's one of the well-kept and deliberately kept secrets about sexuality in general, is that we are mistakenly told, or intentionally mistakenly told, that sex is just about this, rather than it being this entire source of life, right? There's all this intentional shame attached to it, so that people do dissociate from it. They are afraid of it. They don't want to touch it. And yet it's their greatest power source. And it's this whole life-changing, spiritually transcendent lubrication fluid for everything that we do and who we are. And that's why it's so wonderful to be able to hear that directly from people like you, who have gone through that process and had, even from wherever you are, for you guys, things were good and you wanted to make them better. And so to have that really shown to others what's possible.
And it's also being so well fucked, and my husband is as well now also, that it gives us a greater understanding of what other people, maybe not understanding, but it gives me more patience for the world around me, because a lot of the time I can look and go, that person is so underfucked. I really feel for them. But it just does allow me more patience, because I guess because I'm already feeling so fantastic, I have a greater bandwidth for other people around me, but also a greater understanding for what they may not have in their lives. And the not knowing that this is so close. Like, you could grab this with your own hands. You don't need a partner to get to this well-fucked space. You can do this yourself. And I spread the word about Kim and Anami's work. I'm like, just go listen to some podcasts. Go start there. And I tell anyone who is open enough to hearing it, it's such great work. So
I love that. And you're such a great beacon for it. You're such a wonderful example for it, that when you're radiating that energy, people want to know, what are you doing? Like, what do you do you are these things? Yeah.
And I must say, I've been very into fitness. I think I joined my first gym when I was 17. So I'm 44 now. And I've always worked out, be it with weights or yoga or, aerobic, cardio. I love my fitness. In the last 6 months, my physique has changed to a point where it's noticeable to the outside world. You know, when they say if you do something, like, you'll notice it in the first 3 weeks, and then other people will start to notice, and, or you closest family will notice, and then the outside world will begin to notice. The physique of my body has changed, the shape, the flatness of my tummy, the tone in my legs, and the perkiness of my butt, which is very nice. And my breasts have changed shape. They're just fuller, more perky, just more lively. And yeah, it's noticeable to the outside world. People do ask, what program are you doing? What are you doing these days for fitness? And my husband and I just laugh because we're like, well, it's actually, I have not changed what I've been doing in the gym. It's actually what I've been doing outside the gym that has.
Do you tell them?
Well, with some, it depends on who it is. But
Yeah,
yes, most of the time we will just say, it's actually, she's really well fucked. So, which most people handle it very well. But yeah, it depends on your audience. Yeah.
I love that because that's further acknowledgement of how when we're truly embodied, we really open up into that space and all of that energy flows through us. It's unstoppable and we occupy ourselves in a different way. But this is also the fact that it's literal, tangible energy. And the more that we're moving it and recirculating, it is this truly rejuvenative force. And it shows, we wear it. You know, I talk about the well-fucked glow, but I also talk about what you've just said, the well-fucked body, is that people's bodies begin to change. Often they lose weight. They get, like you're saying, like breasts change shape, cocks get larger. It becomes just a more svelte kind of tonedness to it, where we're like really stepping in. Our physique is a truer representation of our inner alignment. We're more in alignment in ourselves and our bodies show that. And I've seen it exactly the same where people don't change their diet, they don't change their exercise, yet they have this noticeably different change in their bodies.
I actually did say that in my feedback to Well Fucked Woman. It wasn't that I had changed so much as I'd actually become who was underneath everything in the first place. So with like all your traumas in everyday life, you pile on all these issues and that it can take on physical form, the issues that you have. Like I had the lump on my throat. And breastfeeding many babies changed the shape of my breasts. But yeah, once I started doing this work, it was like the inner me evolved, and you could see that inner glow just in my outside body, which is beautiful. And just in regards to telling people I'm a well-fucked woman, so sometimes we do say I'm well-fucked, but if it's not in those words, it will be, we're just in the best place that our marriage has ever been in. We're so connected and we're so together. So yeah, we do share it. It just depends on the wording. So
right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think you've covered a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think I have covered, everything I can think of at this point. But there is just so much. There are so many levels and so many layers to go. And there is probably the one thing that I have learned that I will share is that there's no destination. Like every single day, there will be something. And sometimes it can be a really big acknowledgement, something that's like really shifting that I'll go, wow, I didn't even realize that was an issue for me or that I'd buried that so deeply. And then other times there'll just be a little thing where somebody like a guy might upset me at work where I would never have said anything before. I can now speak myself without feeling any like jitters within my body. It just comes out so clearly because I feel well within my right to say what I want to say. So there's little minor changes that happen every day, and sometimes there's really big things that happen. But something happens every single day. And the deeper that Mark and I, that's my husband, go with this work, the more connected we become, and the daily practices just become non-negotiable. I actually don't remember the last time that we missed a day. It would be, I'm talking months, that we missed a day of having sexual connection. So, and it's just part of the daily routine. It's just, it's not a decision to be like, oh, we have to go have sex or we have to do something to connect. It just is part of the energetic flow. It's like that infinity symbol. I just feel like we flow in and around each other, and you can just feel the pull and you can feel the flow and the push of each other. And yeah, we just come back to each other and reconnect, and it's every single day, which, thank you, is amazing.
The Well Fucked Woman Salon is open for registration. In this 8-week How to Live, Love, and Orgasm in a Female Body education you never received, you will learn how to master the technical skills of oral sex, deep throating, anal sex, and wild hand jobs, plus how to use the sex acts to accelerate your personal growth and transformation. And you will learn how to achieve the deeper, life-changing vaginal orgasms, G-spot, cervical, anal, and much more. You can sign up at my website, kimanami.com, under Sexual Savant Salons and look for the Well Fucked Woman. Come one, come all.